Hello, everyone, and welcome once again. This is Naomi the Pena from Hope to Courage, and we have been hosting these 21 days of gratitude beginning on January 9th until January 30th of 2022 with the goal of supporting everyone to ascend from fear to hope and from hope to courage. And we have gathered an amazing group of people, experts, and collaborators are supporting everyone on this journey to provide you with a toolkit of things that you can choose to use in order to help you, whatever works for you, in order to help you ascend from fear to hope and then from hope to courage. And we've been discussing that gratitude is that bridge that brings us from hope, from fear into hope. And today I am very grateful for this guest. It's someone that I've known for many years. I admire her work and we've worked together in the past, but I'm looking forward to see and discussing with you what she's going to be bringing to these 21 days of gratitude. So ladies and gentlemen, here is Ronya with us. She is from Redeem Studios, an incredible artist. Welcome, Ronya.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. This is just so up my alley. So thank you.
For sure. So Ronya, we've known each other for many years and you wear so many hats. So tell everyone a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you bring to the table.
Right. And I'm trying to practice what I preach about, like when you're doing all the things and you need to calm down and just have these calming practices. Okay. So I work as an artist, an art educator, trauma informed. So that means I've gone the route of just really facilitating these calming spaces and these like healing spaces and prompts. And it all started really because my daughter has dyslexia and her learning experience was traumatic, really. So as I was formally academically trained in psychology and studio art, as I was going through that and creating my own artwork and learning like what that career field looked like, I learned how helpful it was to create these creative spaces for her to learn in and just to be herself as well. So it's like two parts, arts-based learning and then just space to create. And I saw this healing happen in her. And I saw how she went from like, I'm terrified to like, I'm enough and this is enough. And oh, I can learn because it's now visual and hands-on. And so I saw just things healing and coming to life in her. And I was like, oh, there's something to this. and and I myself, grew up with learning disabilities, ADHD, anxiety, and they call it dysgraphia, which is like the math version of dyslexia. So, I started to see myself in her too, and how, wow, if I had these tools growing up, things could look different, like they do for me now, as an educator and a consistent learner. So I'm pursuing a license in creative arts therapy, which I'm really excited about, and have some training and certifications in inner healing, art ministry, therapeutic approaches to education, arts-based learning, like you said, lots of hats. And I've created like a ton of programming for museums, schools, recreation departments, rehab facilities, other social agencies, community development organizations, and all arts-based and therapeutic approaches to education or just creative play, one or the other. And it's just been a fabulous journey. I've worked with people with PTSD, brain injuries, children with different sensory processing disorders, gifted, I kind of do struggle with the term gifted and talented. I believe we're all gifted and talented, but gifted and talented groups, learning differences. So it's been amazing. Thousands of people in these programs, just seeing what the arts and creativity and just making space does in the world, coupled with creativity. And I also, I do a lot with something called creative prayer, and that's something we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later.
But I love that your journey has been one that came from your own experience with your own daughter. And it comes from a place of compassion when you realize, how can I be more creative in helping her deal with what she's experiencing? And when you mentioned earlier that you're a trauma-informed artist, some people might feel like, well, I'm not going through any trauma. But the truth is that in the past 2 years, what we've experiencing has been a traumatic experience for many of us. And it might show in many different ways. We might show it whether it's because we're now grinding even harder because we are, angry, or maybe we are more tired, less energy. It shows in so many ways. And one of the things I love about these experiences, learning from all of you collaborators, is I was introduced to the theme of PTSD, right? Instead of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD as in post-traumatic stress growth. And what you do is precisely that. It's the opportunity for growth in the midst of what I experiencing. Can you speak a little bit about, you and I chatted about this, just the effects of fear on the brain, because you've done a lot of research in that.
Right. And so, I mean, I think it's been spoken about a lot because what's going on, and it's not only trauma as in like something awful happened to you, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's just chaos. It's just,
Yeah.
something happened your life has turned a little chaotic in some shape or form. So, when that happens, our brain goes into like this threat space and a survival brain space, which I know a lot of people understand now, which means that like everything that has to do with creativity, critical thinking, decision making, empathy turns off, even digestion, just body systems turn off. That's why we have all like stomach issues around fear and things that seem threatening. And we just go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. And we can't access those parts of ourselves that I believe what I create around is around like human traits and human flourishing. I think those parts of us are what make us human. And the fear kind of attacks that and just keeps us in this one place like, I'm going to die and I need to figure out how I'm
Yeah.
not going to die. And, creative arts for me, would you like me to get into how creative arts?
Yeah, that's been.
Okay.
I just want to call attention to what you said. That this keeps you from accessing those parts of yourself, because we're
Yeah.
not talking learning something new. Because I'm a person who I usually give myself the title like I can only do stick figures, and that I'm not necessarily art inclined. But we're not talking about learning how to do something new or being like somebody else. I love what you say about accessing those parts of yourself through art.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said before, it's two parts. There's a part to being an artist that is about developing artistic skill set, and there's a part that is the creative part, where it's like
Yes.
experimenting, being creative, playing even. So this part is more of that creative arts part, and then there's also value to building a skill set because it builds confidence and all that, and so many other things. But this part, stick figures are perfectly fine for this part of what I do. Again, so this threat focused mind is like the opposite of a self soothed mind. And when we practice activities that are soothing, and it doesn't always have to look like this very like monotone calming, it doesn't need to look like that. It just needs to look like a lot of times it has to do with rhythm and movement. So some of the
Mm.
activities I do, one is called bilateral drawing. You have two materials in each hand, and you're accessing both parts of the brain. You're using both hands, and you're just creating rhythm with movement. And the colors that happen, the movement that happens, it calms the nervous system to know if you are really in a threat, if you're going to die. You're not going to sit there and play with colors and like with both hands, and it does bring both parts of the mind up intact. And but also it's like you're telling yourself, I'm okay, I can take a moment to myself and do this for myself. So there's two things going on there as well. And then so there's just so many examples I can give you, but I think for
Yeah,
the
but that's
sake of
absolutely fascinating what you're mentioning about bilateral drawing for sure. I'm
yeah I
super
was
interested in this. And I know you're going to be hosting a workshop on this. So tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing and when that will happen.
Right. So for the sake of our talk, I wanted to share that on Sunday, on the 16th, I would love to introduce, I'm going to be doing something called creative prayer, but I don't want that to like scare anybody because like you and I were talking, prayer can mean so many different things. I myself am a Christian, so I do have a specific spiritual practice that I use for prayer. But this space isn't about how I do it. It's going to be, I'm going to show you actually how I do it, but you can use your own methods of finding that inner wisdom within yourself and meditating on things of faith. So I really believe that I always say that faith is like art and faith are very similar to one another because you're creating
Mm.
around things that like you can't see. You're hoping for them, but you can't really see the outcome until it's done. Even when it is done, you can just keep adding to it and it keeps growing. So I feel like creativity is kind of like a faith practice. So this creative prayer session, I'm going to be giving like prompts, different prompts around gratitude, because that's the theme, and show you how I do it. And there will be a little bit of bilateral drawing just so you can experiment what that is and take it with you. Like you keep saying this is like a toolkit, so you guys can take what works and what doesn't. So if the creative prayer works, great. If the bilateral drawing works, great. But it's a space to just try it out. And then for the next 2 days after that, I'm going to continue giving prompts so you can do this for like a 3-day experiment for yourself to see what it's like and what it does in you.
That is absolutely fascinating. I love the work you're doing, and I am very excited for people to experience this because, especially for those of us who are adults, sometimes, we just don't do enough in terms of tapping into our creative side. And I love that this is something that we can use not just for leisure, but we're talking about actually affecting our immune system, our nervous system, our brains through art. Ronya, thank you. You are amazing. I love the work you do, and I can't wait for everyone to experience this as well. Where can people learn a little bit more about what you do, and how can they connect with you?
So my website is redeemstudio.com, but it's spelled REDEME and then studio. And so mostly on my website, when I do new things, I'll post it on there. I also have a social media and it's linked at the bottom of my website. So I think the best place is just the website, just like view different pages and you'll get a good look at what I'm doing, and it changes often. So keep coming back.
Sure, great. Well, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for saying yes to the 21 Days of Gratitude. We love you. We appreciate you, and have a
Um,
fantastic day.
Thank you. I'm excited.